There's this trend towards multimodal models that have been trained natively with, right directly from their pre-training with audio and video.
What I am wishing for is to give me the ability to launch a chat through text.
And so in some ways I get it because I'm like, well, I am trying to force it in a different direction than it naturally wants to go.
Imagine if you now have vision on top of that.
What's going on, everybody? Today is December 9th, 2024. You're watching the Daily AI Show live. And today we are talking about what is on your AI Shipmas list. That's SHIPMAS, in case you misheard me. And with us today, we have Beth, Karl. I guess we could talk about the other type of list too. Andy, and I'm Brian. I'm not sure what would be on the other SHI. You go, what? List, but maybe Karl, you may have something on Gemini or Google on that other list that's not on the shipment list. Robots that can do are recycling, that might be on your list. Hey, yeah, you brought it out. Hey, listen, you and everybody in our Justin and Jude and Jen and all that will bring up the AI robot recycling until it exists. We've manifested that here. Okay. So like I said, we got the four of us here today, and it really is just about talking about what we want to see announced, released, talked about to the end of the year. And I mean, today is December 9th as we are recording this live. We are also in the middle, or at the beginning, of the 12 days of OpenAI that Sam Altman and the team at OpenAI announced quite literally, I think Wednesday of last week, and then started at Thursday. I might be off by a day there. But it started last Thursday. They had their day one, Friday, day two. They took the weekend off. And so today we'll actually be back live for our live reactions all this week. So days 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of the 12 days of OpenAI. So we don't know what's coming there. We can have some guesses, maybe Sora, maybe big announcements like that, maybe some smaller announcements of just like little upgrades here or there. We're not quite sure, but that's just OpenAI. There's also all these other companies that are obviously doing amazing things. Holy moly, Runway keeps just absolutely blowing us away with what they're doing. Maybe some of you guys have that on your list. So that's it. That's the conversation for today. But also don't forget to come back and join us if you like live at 1 p.m. today, 1 p.m. Eastern today. That's 10 a.m. Pacific, when OpenAI will do their next 12 days of Christmas. And like I said, you can join us every day thereafter for the rest of this week at that time. So there'll be 2 live shows per day, this one and that one. That one's a little bit shorter. It really just depends how long it takes them to describe whatever it is. And then our 5 to 10 to 15 minutes of reaction to it. So if you wanna join us, you can do that. And all those videos, if you missed any of them, are on our YouTube channel. You could certainly go back and watch them. And holy moly, the day 2 capture people, because that is one of our best performing videos in quite some time. So obviously people are interested in it. Okay, that's enough from me. Who's got their first Shipmas thing? Who's got the first thing that they're really hoping happens before December? We'll say January 1st.
All right. Here's what I want. There's this trend towards multimodal models that have been trained natively with, right directly from their pre-training with audio and video and text. They can do it all. Now, putting that all together requires, some kind of framework that the user has to insert video and audio. And the natural place I turn to there is, hey, I've got a really powerful smartphone. It's got a camera in the front. It's got a camera in the back. It's got microphones all over it. I want OpenAI to give us a new Chat GPT model on the phone, an application on the phone that allows you in an open socket connection to turn on your cameras. You don't have to turn it on. It's just when you open up the app, you're engaging in a real-time conversation that includes vision and listening, through the phone, not only listening to what you're saying and responding only to what you're saying, but hearing everything around you. So you've got an amazing sensor and a powerful computing device right in your hand, OpenAI, give us an application on the phone that integrates a high-end multimodal model and does that, not even for the purposes of taking actions, but just to understand the context that I have at that moment in the dialogue that I'm having with them.
Yeah, I mean, Jen's saying in the comments, "Oh my God, I read Andy's mind." So she must have guessed that. I saw where she guessed uh, um, Karl's because we were talking about the recycling and stuff. But yeah, I guess Jen was all over this, Andy. So like, look, this is right in line with stuff that you've been passionate about since the day I met you. About, and you've done early iterations. It seems like of tools like this where it's important to you. You've said this before, which I love that you're passionate about it. This idea of the conversations and an AI memory, if you will, or an ability to um help memory and legacy and stories and just being able to capture that. So I love this idea from you. I mean, I guess my question for you is, do you see something like this actually happening by the end of 2024? Do you feel like and if there is, what are you seeing that you think points positively in that direction? Or is this more of a maybe, hey, I think there's a really good chance of this being a 2025 type thing?
It may just be a wish.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine.
It is a wish list item,
Yeah.
but I think it's well within the capacity of OpenAI specifically to deliver an application for the iPhone and for Android that does what I just described, integrates real-time video. Like while you're talking to it, it's also looking at your face, but it's also switchable with the back camera, so you can say, while you're talking to it, okay, now switch to the back camera and see what I'm looking at over here and understand that. So I think that it's just a matter of prioritization. Does that really have a big commercial application, or is it a whiz bang cool thing that, I want as an AI aficionado? I haven't thought carefully about how that could enable real productivity enhancements in the workplace and or in the marketplace out there if you could be talking to your AI avatar image on the phone. It's looking at you, and when you ask it to look out that way and you point the camera there without changing the avatar's image on the phone, I think that's a very cool application.
Okay,
Yeah.
but maybe we do change the avatar, right? Maybe the avatar turns around, you see the back of the avatar's head. Now you're having a
Yeah, no,
conversation.
that is clever. Yeah. No, I don't want to turn the phone around. But I want the avatar to turn around. Yeah, to just show me that it's now looking behind. Yeah, that's very cool.
Let's see an avatar do that around you. That'd be pretty cool. Well, I mean, we see this a little bit with Meta, obviously the Meta glasses, which I think have been more successful than I would have initially thought they were. I thought they'd be like a Google Lens from back in the day, where it was just this one-off thing. And Meta has now come out and shown, I forget what they called it, but like the more advanced version of it with the heads-up display, which is really interesting because it's not a screen. They're doing things with lasers. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was not available publicly. It was just like, Zuckerberg was showing like what was available. So it does beg the question, will OpenAI get into the hardware world? Will they create something like a Meta Ray-Ban lenses, seeing that there's been success there, knowing what's possible with, the OpenAI models? I I feel fairly confident that that could definitely happen, Andy. I mean, based on what you're saying, and you're saying the phone. I was just going one past that and going like, well, what if it is glasses? What if it is something else that's like a heads up display? Which would be really interesting for the world.
I think that's too cutting edge and it's got too many usability issues. I think you have to work with what you've got. And
Sure.
I'm just looking for a software application that gangs these things together on my phone. So
Yeah. No.
I wanna jump on what Andy's saying because I think that's awesome. What I am wishing for is to give me the ability to launch a chat through text, right? So I am often in somewhere where I have taken a screenshot of a conversation or a reference or something from Blue Sky or X or Threads or wherever it is, and I want to ask the content. I wanna have a conversation about it. at the moment. I save it as a picture. I go to Perplexity. I upload the picture. Then I start the conversation. I want the ability to just text it to Perplexity to launch a conversation and say, hey, yes, got your text. What do you want to talk about, Beth? Right? In the same way that I would if I were texting it to any of you. Right?
Is that possible through like a short? I don't do shortcuts on my phone, but I know they're sort of like low key sort of workflows. Is that possible? Does anybody know? Can you do that on? And I don't even know about an Android because I don't have one. But can you create like a shortcut, perhaps that kicks off from a text that maybe opens up the Perplexity app? I don't know.
You can. You have to kind of
Scripting.
angle it in the using Apple, like I know from Apple shortcuts, you kind of have to go kind of roundabout way to do it. But the whole point of Apple Intelligence is that. But
Yeah.
obviously that doesn't happen. But that everything you described, Andy, and everything you just described, Beth, like that's what Apple Intelligence is supposed to eventually do. It does nothing of that sort. And didn't we just get an update 18.2?
Yeah.
It makes a pretty little rainbow around the edge of my case.
That's what it's supposed to do.
It works really good in CarPlay. I will say that. The new updates for Apple Intelligence with my phone going to my CarPlay, I do like that because like when I'm in and I'm using Spotify and stuff, I get the little halo around the screen in CarPlay and I'm like, ooh, here we go. And then it does a better job at that. It does a better job at reading text messages and responding. So there have been some small updates there. I went into what's it called? Genmoji. What was the app that was the big thing they released? What's it called? Hold on a second. Playground is what it's called. Yeah. And listen, this is really important. So listen, I needed that picture. And I was able to create it very fast using Apple Intelligence. It's a snowman with reindeer antlers that I needed to send to my neighbor. And look, Apple Intelligence allowed me to make that image very, very quickly on my phone. Couldn't have done it any other way.
I don't know if anybody else has figured this out, but I am breaking news right now. If you use a live picture, you can make a moving sticker. You can make an animated sticker, yes, because I didn't mean to do a live picture, and then my sticker started to move, and I was like, whoa. All right, cool.
Yeah. That's like the word, the moving is not, it's not Apple Intelligence, but the moving words in the for at least on the iPhone, like it'll jiggle or it'll blow up the words in the text. And I did that by accident. And my wife and I had a very real mid to late 40s conversation that lasted way too long about how excited we were about our text messages moving, to which my 14-year-old daughter just rolled her eyes at and just complete embarrassment that we were way too excited about it in our 40s. So it was a very real moment for my wife and I, as we were very excited. And my 14-year-old was like, please stop, please. Okay, we got off topic with our thing. I just forgot the word for it. I was like Christmas. I was like, it's not Christmas, it's Shipmas. Shipmas list. All right, so Beth, you've done one. Andy, you've done one. Karl, what is on your Shipmas list? So hard to say. What is on your Shipmas list?
Well, I saw the 60 Minutes of Greg Brockman showing Anderson Cooper advanced voice mode with Vision. So I'm hoping Vision is today. Even the head product person of OpenAI on LinkedIn posted it. It was like, are you excited for it to, whatever the message was? And I was like, tomorrow. And everyone was excited about that. So I think like everyone's either excited about Sora, but I'm more excited about that. Really, I'm actually hoping one of these days, I doubt it though, is that we get the API for that. Because then the build for that, it's like, cool, I can use it, but cooler if I can build with it. So,
and Karl, can you really quick, just for our audience, and honestly me, if I'm being honest, but I'm sure other people have this question too. When you say vision and you're like, I'm excited, it might come today or whatever, can you just, what is that going to give us? If we get vision as you are referring to it, what are you actually excited about? And what is that actually going to unlock for us?
So I think from an education perspective, you can show, I think the demo that we saw was show like a math problem, and then it'll help you guide you through the math problem. So if you're on your laptop, you put screen sharing and it shows you your screen, you can have that conversation. I think Copilot launched this like last week, how it can be your Copilot for websites, for like 5 websites. No one cares. But this thing, hopefully, how they launch it is like, hey, it's vision, screen share. And I don't know if you remember in 4.0's launch, I think the second or third interview with Altman said he was like, I use this every day and it's on my screen. I can have full conversations with it. So that's part one. It's like, I have, as Mustafa Silman was saying, I have a true Copilot on my screen in like right there, having like, I can just have a conversation with this, like, hey, I'm on Restream and I can't, or TalkStream or whatever program we're out on, and like, hey, my mic stopped. Streamweb, whatever it is. Can you help me with my mic setup? And then I'll take a picture of like this like what my setup is. And that's the hope, is that I can get that real-time conversation with it. And but even like specific business use cases, right? So like you have RAG applications, which you can text to. We built prototypes on RAG applications, and you've already seen it in 11 Labs. Play AI, where you can have conversations, full conversations based on your corpus of knowledge. Then imagine if you now have vision on top of that. So really simple use case, whatever product our business is selling, let's say there's something like it's a widget of some sorts and there's some issue with it. Well, you can take a picture of it, upload it, or if you can build some sort of connection to the business and you can show it, hey, this is my problem with this product that you provided to me, or I can't get this to work. And through vision, you can have full conversations with that. And I'm actually wondering, can you train it on your corpus of knowledge is mostly unstructured data, but can you now train it on images and potentially video of just your product, and then how it's supposed to work? And then that empowers the AI advisor assistant to go beyond. Now it's truly multimodal because it can see and hear you. And you can have full conversations, not just by text, but it's like actually like, oh yeah, let's work on this problem together.
Right.
So is this a example? I don't know. So I'm throwing this back out to you, Karl, or anybody. So yesterday, real world example. Not too long ago, I bought a used 2014 Hyundai Santa Fe, right? And so over the weekends since then, I have been doing minor upgrades, the CarPlay thing, right? I just talked about that. I had installed that, and you jump through the hoops of taking out the old stereo that still had a CD player in it and replacing it. This weekend, it was more or less about headlights, and also my battery died on me, which was fun. Battery is the battery. You can figure out how to get it out of your car, take it out of zone and get a new battery. The headlights, I was going on to YouTube, and no matter what YouTube I went on, it looked different. Mine looked different. There was a clip. Mine didn't have a clip. It was supposed to turn left. Mine was supposed to turn right, right? Like it just didn't look. Same thing happened the last weekend with fog lights. My fog lights did not look like the YouTube version of 2014 Santa Fe. I don't know why. Maybe it was the sport mode or whatever. So I was like, you're fumbling around, you're doing it either way. Now, I could take in a picture right now on my phone using ChatGPT, and I could say, does this headlamp look like it's supposed to whatever? And I can ask ChatGPT against that image what I'm trying to do. But if I have vision, and let's say it's available on the phone, I guess that's important. But because you're talking about doing it on the desktop, are we saying now with vision that there's, instead of it just being, here's an image, tell me about it, here's another image, tell me about it, that it's more of a conversational interaction where maybe it's bringing back new videos or other ways and saying, okay, well, based on what you're looking at, this is your actual way that you're going to have to get these headlights out or whatever the case was. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's a bad example, but that's where my brain is right now.
So the idea would, let's say it's like a GoPro, right? You strap your phone camera forward, whichever side, probably the better camera, which is the rear. You strap it on and be like, hey, okay, we're going to now fix this issue. I'm going to open the car. This is what I'm doing. You have to give instructions, right? Hey, watch this entire thing till I'm done and then tell me the problem. And then you're showing it all this stuff while you're doing. And then you're like, hey, I'm done showing you the problem. Can you now help me? That's essentially that, like, you will literally have an AI thing on you to see. Because I remember the demo also was this person who had a seeing impediment. I think he was blind, but I'm not sure. Essentially walking around, was it London? Maybe. Tell me what you're seeing. And then it was giving feedbacks. I'm here, you're here, you're here, you're here, you're here. Can you imagine from an accessibility perspective what that does to enables a lot of people to be doing, not from being able to see, until everyone gets a Neuralink, which then, you can see whatever. But I think until then, but even then, for me, the one thing could be back to not the recycling, but another thing that's really would be cool is, imagine if you're playing video games and you have your AI advisor. And I said this in a video that I created once. It's like, before, let's say you're playing a boss and a boss has a instant death like action, it can tell you, hey, in like half a second, instant death about to occur, whatever that would be. It's like literally your co-pilot for that activity, but it can be any activity. And so
I don't play golf, but it could be your caddy.
Oh my goodness.
Right? It could be your caddy. It could be like, the idea of a caddy, I mean, most people don't have caddies, is like, well, listen, I mean, with the wind coming where it's coming at, I mean, you probably want to pick that. I don't know a damn thing about golf. The wedge over there, whatever, right? The 4-wood, the 4-iron or something. But like, if it has vision and it can realistically see what you're looking at, you're like, this is my problem. I don't know what club to pick up. It's like, well, based on the course you're on and probability stats of what people have used and so on and so forth, this probably maybe what you want to do.
This is the biggest cheating of NFL. I don't know if you think about this from like purely football perspective. I don't know if this will be allowed, but will you enable, because this is just this natural progression to me. You are a head coach, your offense coordinator, your defense coordinator. Then what, your AI coordinator be like, hey, they have run this play out of this formation in this yards down in distance at like 59% of the time. The recommended play against this would be this. Like, it's coming into your ear as you're ripping through it.
Kind of had that with the Surface tablet, right? On the yeah.
Kind of do, but that half a second in your ear as it's going through, I don't like, would that be cheating? If every single...
Go ahead. And we're not going to know because it's going to use the same system as the coach in the ear, right? Like, you're just like, well, I don't know what the thing is. They hold it behind their clipboard, but there's something they talk into that is that means that they're talking into the headset of the quarterback. Now you're talking into something that just goes through an AI on the way.
Right? You know whose jobs are now in danger if you really leave us? Like, wait a minute, do I need a head coach? Or do I need an offensive coordinator? Wouldn't I just need an AI offensive coordinator? Don't I need any...
You need someone to blame, Karl.
I think, okay, so we, not this year, it was definitely this year, there was this big thing I ended up watching. It ended up being a dud, but it was basically AI F1 racing, right? There was no driver in the car. And they did it in like Dubai or something like that. And I forget what they called it, right? But it was driverless cars. And they're like, this is going to be amazing. And it was not amazing. The cars stopped. They pulled over. They didn't go fast. There's nothing about that made you think, wow, what a spectator sport this is. Now, I still loved it because it was like, it's the hope of the future, right? You're like, one day this might be a thing, or like drone racing may become bigger one day. I don't know, but like also maybe not. Maybe it'll always be a fringe sport type thing. I mean, there's so many of them. So I think in that sense, yes, in the sense of will we have some sort of AI enabled sports, but they'll probably be fringe sports and not part of the same league as like an NFL or whatever for the time being. Now, you could have 20 years ago said, oh, there'll never be a computer. Who's going to wheel a computer with the long cords out on the sideline? And who would do that? And that's because you couldn't think of there being a tablet that is using Wi-Fi from the sky and has power for days, right? So like, of course, 20 years ago, you weren't going to, like, maybe longer than that, 30 years ago, nobody was looking at NFL and going like, well, they're going to have real-time stats and analytics on the sideline. But of course they do. They do right now. And heads up displays and stuff like that. So like, is it crazy to think in not 20 years, 10 years that there won't be more AI involved in NFL or sports like that? I mean, you're probably right. I mean, it probably will be there. It'd be crazy it wouldn't be, because history has shown us the technology has definitely made its way into these sports. So will you have AI caddies? Will that be a thing? Will everybody have that ability? As long as like everybody has the same technology, that'll be interesting. Or maybe teams have AI specialists who are creating trained algorithms and fine tuning models. And just like you have a coach who's great at doing plays, you're going to have somebody who's really good at fine tuning their models. And that becomes a competitive advantage for, the Chargers or something like that, because they have the best AI analyst on their staff. I don't know.
I think eventually, though, and my business partner and I were talking about this. What happens when there's parity, right? It's like, so the thought was, okay, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, all of them are using some sort of AI right now, whatever the level it is for whatever task. But what happens when that reaches parity too? It's like, you can only Wells Fargo, how much difference will their AI be against JP Morgan's AI? I don't know. And it's an interesting question. And then the thought was what if they reach parity? What is the differentiator for them from an AI perspective, right? And that's where I think the human comes into play. So there's differences still.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to the idea of Shipmas, since that's where our thought is today. Andy, Beth, I mean, we'll go back around the horn, and you guys have more that you're thinking about as far as, as you look at your wish list for the end of the year, either what's coming up on the 12 days of 12 days of OpenAI, excuse me. Or, it hasn't been a quiet December. We've certainly seen other announcements from some of the other major and not so major AI players. So anything else you guys are kind of quietly hoping will happen?
I definitely have one, but I want to highlight Eric, chat rag PT. Shall you watch that?
There it is.
There we go. And yeah, like I think we're so close to being there. I'm not sure what ChatGPT would need to do to really like up it to a full RAG, but that would be awesome as well.
Well,
my-
isn't that already available in custom GPTs?
I think that's what he's saying. But I don't like. I think this is a custom GPT version. I'm not sure we're at full RAG. I'm not sure we would. I don't yet trust it the way I would trust something like Chatbase.
Mm.
Do y'all?
Really? Yeah, that's odd. I assume that the documentation that I put into the knowledge section of a custom GPT is RAG. And it's
I believe it is. I mean,
right. And I've never doubted that it was going to be available and reliably delivered to the chat assistant when necessary.
So I think that when necessary is holding a lot. I think pure RAG does go to the knowledge versus saying, "Oh, I've got this. I know the answer." Because I've just had it ignore the knowledge. I have to, and Brian's nodding. I have to explicitly say, "Do not answer before you check your knowledge. This specific file, read from top to bottom."
and put it, the trick the trick that I've always learned there is if you put the entire file that you have in quotes, and then the quotes just like you would put in a Google search or something like that to keep the words together. Or if you do it like in the triple backticks, which we always learned early on, Beth, right? When we were teaching ChatGPT and prompting, um, if you needed to repeat the file verbatim, word for word, then that you have to treat it almost like a giant quote. So yeah, but anyway, I'm nodding my head, right, Beth, because this is a good segue into maybe what would be on my Shipmas list. I think it might happen too. Is uh I love custom GPTs. The day they came out, I built one within hours. And I thought, yes, this is perfect for somebody like me. I get prompting. I understand how these things work. I'm not a coder. And boom, they just delivered me a tool that was perfectly suited for somebody like me. And I was able to be off to the races and create meaningful tools for both internal and myself within hours of ChatGPT or custom GPTs being delivered. I'm looking in these 12 days of OpenAI, I'm looking for that next big thing for custom GPTs. I don't even know what that is. I can't tell you what it is I'm necessarily hoping for. What I'm saying is it's been a while, and I think there are definitely some areas where improvements. I would love to see the APIs get a little bit easier and more reliable. So connecting outward from custom GPTs to other sources through the webhooks and OAuth and things like that, which at least for me have been cumbersome and troubling. But again, I'm not an expert there. So whether that means they make it easier for somebody like me, or if they just enhance the controls of what a custom GPT can really do. Because I agree with you, Beth. One of the hardest things is getting a custom GPT to behave the way we specifically want it to do. Because we're kind of grinding uphill against what it was meant to do. And so in some ways I get it because I'm like, well, I am trying to force it in a different direction than it naturally wants to go. The water wants to flow downhill, and I am admittedly trying to push water in a different direction. And so that becomes frustrating because I have to create these really, really long, convoluted, instructions for custom GPTs to force them to do what I want. So I think on my wish list would be like better controls over that. I don't know if it's as simple as maybe being able to prompt when I want certain temperatures, but that would be a huge step. If in the prompting before a task was generated or before the next thing I had to do happened, if I was able to set the temperature before the task, I think, Beth, that would give us a lot more control over what you and I have both run into head on, which is sometimes I want you to be just a RAG system. And sometimes I want you to be the creative for GPT 4.0 that we all know and love. Sometimes. And sometimes I want a hybrid of that. And that truly will give me the best output if I, the creator, am able to put that in and not just have to blindly rely on whatever was built behind that. I don't know if that's what custom GPTs were really built for or if they'll do that, but that's what I would love to see. And I'm hoping, if nothing else, in these next 10 more days of OpenAI that we have, that there is some sort of meaningful custom GPT announcement, because I know that would directly impact my job, what I do at Scaled, what we do internally with the Daily AI show and things like that. So it would have the biggest bump for me personally, as far as the skill set or tool, I should say.
Right. Karl, you've talked about custom GPTs as being sort of like the I don't know. I'm going to put it in my words because these are obviously not yours, but like agents with training wheels, right? So we're getting used to the idea, but it doesn't have full capability.
Yeah, like my original thought, and I'm not sure if this is where OpenAI is moving to, is that I thought a custom GPT has the RAG system, so has the knowledge, has the ability to do search online, and because of that knowledge, knows kind of, has history, so technically has the memory. And then all it's missing is all the features that we've seen, right? So can you switch in a custom GPT? Can you switch models to pick whichever model you want to use for a specific task? Then can it have advanced voice? Can it have vision? And then the last piece is, can it take action? So I thought if you can put all those things together, then a custom GPT technically becomes your agent. But maybe that's not the direction that OpenAI is going, because we haven't really seen very many updates to custom GPTs. For example, a simple one would be Canvas. Can I use Canvas inside a custom GPT? No, you can't. Right. So, and I don't even know what model, like it is I would assume it's the latest 4.0 model, but we don't know. But Canvas itself would be so useful inside. I find it not useful because it's just sitting there. And I'm like, well, I don't write enough to maybe use Canvas on a regular basis, but it'd be more useful is to have Canvas in a custom GPT. That's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about, was like, what are some things that we can put into a custom GPT that is already there now? That could be a stocking stuffer, right? So it's like,
Sure.
Is advanced writing, like when ChatGPT 4.0 had that advanced writing, I don't know if it made it into custom GPTs. Maybe it did, maybe I don't know.
I don't think the advanced search is in custom GPTs.
No, it's not. But that makes no sense. Like, why it wouldn't be?
Give us the citations. Give us Canvas. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think it's because it's a separate platform. Like the custom GPTs are running with a certain architecture that isn't the latest developments that are coming through ChatGPT. But you're right. That's a great opportunity. I love the stocking stuffers idea. OpenAI already has so many capabilities that they just please add them now. Keep moving forward with custom GPTs because it's just a very practical and useful platform.
I hope so. I mean, Karl, you used to say, like, look, I think these custom GPTs are the stepping stone towards agents. And now being almost at the end of this year, I'm like, ooh, because I was right with you. I was like, yeah, this totally makes sense. Keep developing the custom GPTs, keep connecting them in meaningful ways, and make them more user-friendly on the desktop version, which they're not right now. And boom, you've got something that feels very agentic-like, because it would start to be able to do things on your behalf down the road, probably looking a little bit more like a workflow right now, or just an automation. But now I almost wonder if, like, this is not me bringing this up the first time, but are custom GPTs going the way of plugins? Is it just this stopgap thing, and it's not being developed and progressed on because it's not in the future roadmap of OpenAI? Like, it's fine for now, but it's not the future.
Yeah, I hope that's not true. Like, say Andy was saying, so there's two things that maybe I don't know where custom GPTs fit into this. So Sam Altman, this guy named Ark, whatever his name is in on X, who's red teaming a lot of OpenAI's like models, and the latest podcast from the Unsupervised Learning by Redpoint Ventures, Noah Brown, the senior researcher, is actually on there, and they all have said the goal is to take O1 models and then GPT-4, 5, whatever models, vision, voice, Canvas, Dolly, Sora. The goal is to merge them together into one model to do all the things that separately that they can do. They've said that multiple times. So if that's the case, where does that leave custom GPTs? Will it have the ability for that model, or is it sort of like, well, you don't need it now because you have all this stuff? I'm a bit curious to see where that goes.
Well, I think custom GPTs also represents a publishing platform for people who want to build one. You can share a custom GPT. So that's something that ChatGPT alone doesn't provide. It doesn't provide an instruction package with prompts and knowledge that you can ship off to your wife and say, here, use this, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's my favorite part about it, is that you can, oh God, we've done it so many times just for the show, that you can identify a problem, like a true pain point, identify it, and build a solution and deploy it that's good enough to solve the problem within minutes. And I personally, because I'm not a coder, I have personally never had something that's that reliable, that good. Now, as always, you how far could I push it? How far could I manipulate it? How far? So like, but if it's on its end, right, Andy, if you just look at like a tool that you can use that you're right, that I can hand off to my wife and go, hey, look, it'll take me longer to explain how I solve this nutrition issue you're having, but this is what I did. I created it, I wrote the prompt, and you can start using it right now. And my wife maybe looks at it and goes, look, yeah, that does exactly what I needed it to do. Thank you. You know?
But you're not gonna get it because you've been naughty this year. So
Look, we talk. I know on that. I know real quick on the time. Like we have, I don't think intentionally, but we sort of have talked a lot heavy on ChatGPT. So before we do wrap up today, at some point, I'm not saying this minute, I would love to hear some other areas: Perplexity, Claude, other tools. I know I'd love to talk about Runway and what they're doing. So, but I don't want to take the stage. Like, but I am curious if you guys have stuff outside of the ChatGPT realm, or I'm sorry, OpenAI realm.
I have an agnostic request, so that may like slip in the door for that. I want a true co-writer. Okay, we talk for 45 minutes. It creates a transcript. The transcript is not, let's say, totally accurate, right?
Right.
And so I have a series of prompts that I run to ask it to look at context. It can look like it has a context window of 200,000 tokens, right?
Mm.
It can totally understand the whole document. So I want to work with it in like, I mean, this should be what Microsoft Word and Google do, and they do not right now. That we can co-edit this document together, right? So Karl's name is spelled all the time. So is Jumi.
Yeah.
So I want within the system to be able to search and replace. Be a co-writer for me. Don't AI it. Like search and replace Karl with a K, right? And then when like we're talking about the context, so Shipmas will be interested to see how they like do this. That's a word in the context. You can see the name of the show. That's a fix that I want you to be able to see using your AI because you
Yeah.
understand the context. Like this for me is missing. It's fine for like if all you're writing is like LinkedIn posts or something that is small. Yay, that's great. This is totally missing and it would be great to have. Like yeah.
And you're right. It's not like we need new technology for this. They just need to put all the pieces and parts in the right order and do it.
Let me code you a really robust search and replace feature for the next 7 minutes. Like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
And then change the damn words anyway. You're like, I was fine with what it said. It was just wrong. It had a grammar issue. Like, I didn't need you to rewrite the whole paragraph because it spelled Karl with a C. I just needed just Karl, just Karl fixed. So yeah, I agree with that. Sometimes it's over engineering. It's over like the AI gets involved and you're like, yeah, this is a 1995 problem and I just need you to do it, and solve it. I'll throw one real quick one out there. I've been so impressed with what Runway has done. I mean, for a while now, but just personally for me, I will say that I had so much fun putting together the little Who's on First parody type thing that I did a couple weeks ago, and just really sort of pushing myself in that way. And what I really was finding was like, just like some of the like custom GPTs, like, ooh, this is coming to me. Like my skill set, it's coming to me. I'm not having to necessarily learn new skill sets to do it, which I love because I think what it's going to do, and I hope for me in 2025, is unlock more of my creativity. I generally like sitting around a room full of people and just talking absurdities, and that's what makes me laugh and smile and stuff like that, and just having the dumbest conversations that go nowhere. And there hasn't necessarily been a way for me to turn that into a visual or something like that. I personally, and I don't want to act, I don't want to sing, I don't want to not interested in being on camera myself outside of this show, on the myself, and like, but I do love the idea of being able to basically block out what I'm looking for and allowing an AI to take that over with a completely different character. So I'm just like, I'm so excited about it. And what I really hope I do more of for myself, so this is a wish list item for me, like literally to do this more, is be more creative. I am now have tools ahead on in front of me. I no longer can hide behind, oh, that would be a really funny idea, because there's nothing stopping me anymore from making the funny idea and then putting it out there. And so, I think there's areas like LinkedIn and stuff that are just starved for funny but important information. And so I want to be part of that solution. I want to be making more videos now that it doesn't have to be me necessarily acting it out. I love Corporate Bro and those types of funny skits that people put on, but I don't have to do it anymore. I don't have to do it. I don't have to grab Karl and say, Karl, do you have 30 minutes? I have this funny idea. Let's go to the conference room. We're going to record this. And I'm going to set up the cameras and the lighting. And here's what you should probably say. And let's do it. I don't have to do that at all. I can just sit in a room with Karl across, and say, Karl, I had this funny idea. He's like, that'd be hilarious. Let's do this. And I'm like, okay, let's go in the Runway and create the camera characters and just create it in a virtual world and stuff. So I get excited about that. And I do hope for me, like my wish list for me is, Brian, you have this. There's no reason to wait. Go take full advantage of this and go find more ways to be creative. Because I will tell you, I had so much fun creating that video. And I thought, man, I would just do this endlessly if I could get paid for this. I just thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a good wake up call, I think, for me, that like, hey, this is here. Go, like, you only have yourself to blame if you don't go use it, because it's certainly available to you, So that's one for me.
Okay, I've got one. We've seen demonstration of advancing reasoning capabilities in the largest models. And one of the challenges is, does that reasoning really extend to vague and nuanced, complex, flexible real-world problems? And Karl has actually done some work on this and given a demonstration. I think we have an upcoming show about how AI, the latest model O1, can actually do really complicated things like business strategy for the specifics of a company or industry. And so what I want is I want to see the merge between these reasoning models and something that I think is going to start to emerge in 2025, which is cloud-based access to quantum computing. Okay, that's happening. It's a real thing. And we should do a show about really what's going to happen in 2025 about quantum computing. And so it'll be accessible to users that maybe it's not immediately accessible to individual consumer users, but it's going to be available to enterprises. But what I'd like to see it do is something that's complicated for me, despite my extensive training in this area, which is, hey, I want an advanced reasoning model. I'm going to give it all of the information about every financial asset and all of my, income sources and my tax situation and my back taxes. And I wanted to ingest all that and come up with a model that is then going to be operating continuously in the background and give me specific advice. Okay, sell this, right? Borrow that, dispose of this, give me specific advice so that I don't have to spend a lot of time and I can do the things that I really want to do, which aren't nearly so complex and strategic.
I love that idea. God knows every year when it comes around to taxes. And they're getting a little bit better, but yeah, I definitely would love that. I think that would be great,
So
especially
it's a combination of investment strategy and tax strategy and just overall, household management advice. Like, you're spending way too much on this. We have little tools like Rocket Money or whatever that do that in a very sort of rudimentary way. But now, give me a big reasoning agent that'll work on this for my household.
I 1,000% want that. I've done a line item budget for my family and when I own businesses since 2017. I don't know how many lines that is at this point, but it's thousands. And yeah, I could use some really intelligent tools that are able to look at that take in inflation and the fact that groceries just simply cost more in 2024 than they do in 2017, but be able to do that in an intelligent way. And like you said, like household management, Andy, I think that would be really, really cool to say, look, given what you have, despite inflation, you can't blame this on inflation. Y'all are spending way more on eating out than you were in 2017 comparatively. I can do that, but you're right. It would be great to have just an AI all-in-one tool that can quickly look at that and bring in those insights, because that's what I actually find the hardest thing. I have the data, I just have a hard time generating meaningful insights from that data, which is like the number one problem of every business out there. They have the data, they're just trying to find the insights that come from it. Okay, unless anybody else has another pressing one that they want to bring up, let's wrap this up. We're good. Karl, you good?
What
Yep.
about
Listen, don't make me bring Thumper into it.
Battle of the Rabbits. I need
is that this is the year that the large action model that's behind this is actually going to be integrated with their desktop, with a desktop application in addition to this. And then I'm actually going to be able to work on my computer with this as a paperweight over here on the left-hand side. Holding down my paper.
I'm bullish about Rabbit and what they're doing. I think they got a shot, but I think maybe they should have developed their software first and then maybe had the hardware and they did it backwards. But I think you got an outside chance of that actually being a really important tool at some point. I don't think it's going to be a paperweight for a while, but then I think you really got a shot at it being something pretty cool in there. So yeah. Okay, well, listen, we'll let it wrap it up there. Beth put it in the chat, but I'll remind everybody, we will be back again live at just like 3 minutes to 1 Eastern today, so that we'll share our screen like we've done for the first 2 days of 12 days of OpenAI. We will basically watch and make some random comments along the way of whatever the announcement is, however long that lasts, and then immediately after that, whoever can make it, we'll talk about what we think that means. Was it just a stocking stuffer, or was it like another legit big thing? How do we think that's going to impact everybody? So come back and join us live if you like, be part of the conversation. Or if you can't catch us live, definitely check out those live reaction videos on YouTube. Also, don't forget, you can go to thedailyishow.com. You can see all of our videos there. You can also sign up for our newsletter. The edition just went out yesterday. I think it was number 27. And so if you'd like to be on that newsletter list, it's totally free. You can do that. And they go out every Sunday at 8 a.m. Eastern. So pretty much anytime between now and next Sunday at 7 a.m., you can be on that list and get the next edition of the newsletter. That's it for us today, guys. We will be back in a few hours, just 2 hours, it looks like, to talk about whatever comes out for day 3 of the 12 days of OpenAI. Until tomorrow, see you guys.